Hey everyone, Cheryl here today with you. I'm going to show you how I have learned to make these adorable little notebooks. I became addicted to making these. I just can't stop. I don't even know what I'm going to do with them all, but I think they're so adorable, and it's a great way to use up some of your pattern paper. Whoops, this one's upside down. If you have a huge stash of pattern paper like I do, you can get these little notebooks at the dollar store, or at your craft store, or Hobby Lobby, Staples, your office supply store. Isn't this one cute? And a lot of the printed papers have a page of sayings. I'll show you that in a second. That I trim out and use those for decorations on the front. Come in all different sizes. My favorite size is this size, and this is a Christmas one I made. Super handy to have in your purse, or you know, just maybe on your desk. This one I embellished with a little rose gold leaf in there. You know, the sky is the limit. You can really, this one I love too. This would be a great one for like a grocery list, or you could get a custom pad of paper that says maybe to do, and use that for this. And you could put a magnet on the back and put it up on your refrigerator, that kind of thing. So I'm going to show you today my process for making these great books. And I'm going to start out by first showing you everything that you need. So let's get this out of the way. And so for starters, I have several different types of notebooks. And once I decided I liked making these, I started buying them in bulk. And I got them from Amazon. So like these are really small. This is the size that I love to make. And boy, what size were these? They're like 2.5 by 4.25 or something like that. You can get just plain scratch pads, super cheap on Amazon. These are 3 by 5, and so these 3 by 5 ones make where's 3 by 5? They make this size, which is also a really handy size to have too. You can do the same thing in a big notepad like this. Actually, this is 2 of them. And split it apart. So if you wanted to have a nice cover for a larger notebook to give as a gift, or just to have at work as your everyday meeting book or taking notes book or whatever, you can get different styles. Like I got these at Staples, I think they were 3 for $3. So really inexpensive paper. So you need those. And then the next thing you need is chipboard. And chipboard is really thick cardboard. So I got this stack from Amazon, and so it's pretty sturdy, and it's not that hard to cut, believe it or not. And I got this pack of 25 pieces. They're 8.5 by 11. I got it from Amazon for $8.25, I think, $8.25. So less than $1 a piece per. I did the math actually. Each sheet of chipboard, which I get 4 small books out of, is 33 cents each. So really reasonable there too. Okay, and then the next thing you need is pattern paper. The 12 by 12 works best if you want to do one contiguous strip of paper for the cover, which also flips around to be the back. So for example, like this one here, the back is the same as the front. That's one long strip of paper. So when you lay it out, the 6 by 6 pads are too small. That's why the 12 by 12 works good. But you can see you get at least 3 of this size out of one 12 by 12 piece of paper. So it's kind of nice. Now, if you wanted to use your 6-inch paper pads, that's super easy too. It's just a little bit of a twist on your assembly. But like, for example, this one, I used the striped, and then I used a green for the back. And so those were smaller paper pads. And then you can also piece in the smaller pieces on the inside. Okay, so paper, oh, and tape and adhesive. So the adhesive I like to use is 1/2 inch, and I think this is 3 inch. What is this? This is just under, this is like 2 3/4 inch. This is nice because it, you know, less cutting and piecing together. And then this I use, and I also use a lot this guy here, because this tape is actually really pretty sticky, and it holds well. So okay, so now I'm going to go into all the parts and pieces that I pre-cut everything just to make it easier. So I decided I'm going to have the cover of my book going to be the striped. This is going to be the liner for the inside. And then these two pieces are going to be, for example, this contrasting lid or top piece is going to be this green color. And then this color, this piece right here, is going to be this color. So those are my paper pieces that I need. And then on this one, I used some washi tape just to finish off the edges. And I'll probably do that again on this one. I haven't picked out the washi tape yet. And then I also told you that there are, in some of the paper books, there are pages that have like this, where just random patterns. It's not like that, but it's got different things. And so all I did was I just cut them out. And so these can make some really nice embellishments that coordinate with the paper you're already using. So that's why I did that. And I'll be using those on this notebook today too. And let me just give you another example of the coordinating sheets. So this new paper pad I just bought, which I fell in love with, for example, has all of these little things. You could cut this out and put that on the front of your, you know, like this one says just pray, but you could put that out and say, you know, put that on the front as decoration. Sky's the limit. You could stamp a custom saying and die cut it out in a circle or a shape of a heart and put it on the front too. So there's so many different options you can do to decorate these little notebooks. And I'm just going to show you how fast they are to make. Super easy. Okay, so I told you I pre-cut my pieces, and for this size notebook, which is the 2 3/4 by 4.5, I think, something like that. I can't tell you definitively what size to cut each of the chipboard pieces, because all the notebooks are going to be somewhat different in size. So what I can do is you measure your notebook, and then you add about 1/8 of an inch to each side to get your total dimension. So in this particular case, it's 2.5 by 4 3/8. So yeah, 2.5 by 4 1 2 3/8. And I know you probably can't see the ruler, but so that's how I come around to figuring out what the size should be. So you just add 1/8 of an inch to each side, and also the top and the bottom, and that will become your dimension. Hopefully that wasn't too confusing. And then you'll also notice that this book has a spine in the center, which is a little thin piece of chipboard that's cut this width, but just this little, it's a little spine piece, which is kind of a pain. And sometimes it makes it so that the book doesn't close, like lay flat close. See how it kind of is like lifting up a little bit? That bugged me. So the way I got around that was I eliminated the spine. And this one here doesn't have the spine. It's just paper, which is reinforced, and I'll show you how I do that. But it lays perfectly flat. And so I avoided an extra step by taking the spine out and just making room for it. and then training it to fold the way I want it to fold. So, okay. So to get started, you need a front cover and a back cover, and that's what these two pieces are. We're not going to do the spine, and you need a piece of paper, and this one measures 4 inches wide by 12 inch. So I just took my 12 by 12 piece of paper and I cut it 4 inches wide. And now what I'm going to do is these are going to go on here just like this. And I'm going to tell you what that measurement should be also. But just to get started here, I'm just going to simply put, whoops, a row of adhesive around the border of this panel, and then just one strip down the center for kicks. Place it here so that it's got about a, you know, around a 1 inch border. Press that down. This is going to become your friend too. And then the way that the spine works is you have to measure. So for example, I'm going to make a booklet for this size. What you do is you measure how thick this piece is right here, and then you add 1/8 of an inch to each side of it. So it turns out that for this one, where's my ruler? So this is 1/4 of an inch wide, thick, 1/4 of an inch thick. I'm going to add 1/8 of an inch to the top and 1/8 of an inch to the bottom, and that's going to equal 1/2 inch total. So what you want to do then is just measure from end to end. And I'm going to grab a pencil real fast. Measure 1 inch from this edge right here. Just make a little, sorry, not 1 inch, 1/2 inch. A tick mark right there. And then I just draw a line so that I can line up my chipboard properly. So there you've got, this is now going to be the room for your spine. And so it's going to go on there just like that. So I'm going to load up this with some tape. And I'm going to grab my straight edge again so that I make sure I get it straight. Glue side down. And press that down. Then I'm just going to take my bone folder and just make sure it's all good and stuck. Then I'm going to just trim off the extra, just like that, so that you have your piece. This is your spine, your top, and your bottom. And what I do is I kind of tip it like this on the, to make a crease, to get the paper kind of going in the direction I want it to go in, so that I have it kind of pre-scored. And then what you need to do is miter the edges, because if you don't miter the edges and you flip this up, you're going to have a bunch of paper here that's in the way and it gets bulky. So to get rid of that, you just trim off the corner and you leave about 1/8 of an inch space between the corner of the chipboard and the edge of the paper. So you just eyeball it. I do it on, sometimes it's not exactly perfect, but nobody sees it once you get the liner page in. Oops. So just like that. Now I'm going to bring in my tape gun again, and I'm going to go along the border. Just like that. And fold these in. And I always do the long edge first. See how nice and tight those corners are now? And if you don't have it perfect, like I know there's a perfect angle that you probably could cut it at, but I'm not a perfectionist like that. I just take my scissors and I just trim it so that there's no more edge. So just like this. There. So now what we're going to do is reinforce this spine with, where did it go? With this tape. I'm going to zoom in a little bit for you guys. There. So I just take a piece of tape, and you don't want to go edge to edge. This is just going to reinforce this, so it's because this particular paper is a little bit thin, and so this double-sided tape is just going to reinforce it a little bit before you put the backer on it. And you just want to make sure you don't go straight edge to edge, because you're going to have sticky tape here that's exposed. So you want to make sure you're inside the width of the notebook. And so I just put this down like that. Get that nice and stuck. And then I get my liner piece ready. Oh, I didn't cut that right, so I need to cut this down a little bit. And I would normally use my paper trimmer, but I'm just going to eyeball it. Okay, so there's your liner piece, but what you need to think about before you glue this down is, what are your embellishments on the top of the notebook going to be? Because if they wrap, you want to be able to cover up the inside wrapping with the liner, if that makes sense. So for example, let's see, what am I going to do here? I think I was going to do this. And so this would be like that. Then I'm going to have a top piece come on like that. And then I think I wanted to do something like this. Maybe I do. Dream big with the flowers. I want to center it. Do that? No. I want to do. Or I can just cut out a circle and do bloom and grow. Be you. Oh hey. I don't like this one because it's not going to go with this green liner top that I picked out. So I think we should go with the bloom and grow. What I'm going to do is I'm just, and so that is not going to have any wrapping around it. So I don't have to worry about that part of it. But what I am going to wrap is, I'm going to put some washi tape on here, and that's going to wrap. So what I want to do now is get this guy put on. And I pre-cut this to be just a hair longer because I would rather have it too long than too short, and then I come back in and I trim it off later. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put double-sided tape on this guy and secure it down, but you want to make sure you secure it down with the book in it, so that, where did my book go? Right here. So that you train the paper to form around it. So what I didn't show you before is, which I forgot to do, is you kind of use your bone folder and score it and really get kind of a score line in there. And then I press it all the way down, and then I shift it and I press it again all the way down. So that makes your spine. And so when you put your top part on, you don't want to put it on flat like this, because once you get it all taped down, if you bend it, it's going to tear. It's going to be too tight. So that's why you want to make sure when you put your topper on, you put it on when it's bent like that. So, and the easiest way I know to do that is to just start throwing some, and you can make this as wide or as narrow as you want. I chose a pretty big margin, but that's okay. So there'll be a lot of green showing at the top, but since I'm just going to have this little guy here in the center, that should be cute. All right, so let's put the book in here. And I'm going to push that up to the top. And what happened to my rubber band? Normally I throw a rubber band around it because I'm not ready to glue it down yet. But I don't know what I did with it. So at any rate, so this is in there temporarily. We're going to just tape the heck out of this. And this one you do want to do quite a bit of tape. Just make sure you're not going to have any bubbles and all that stuff. Okay, so yeah. So then you're just going to need to stand up so I get this on straight. Just going to put it on like this. Then pick it up and fold it over while the book is in it. There. Now you can come in, whoops, with your scissors and trim off the edge. And then again, you're going to want to work the spine. And that's how you get it to lay nice and flat when the book's in it. Okay, and I have a little bit of an overhang here, so I'm just going to trim that off too. I'm going to go back out a little bit. Okay, so there's that. Now we're going to, maybe I want to do this. That's kind of pretty. What do you think? Down here like that? Maybe like that. And then I'll put some tape on both ends of it. Let's do that. I like that idea. So again, you're just going to decorate this little guy. No, hold on. Let me do it this way first. Ah, sticky. Okay, let's do this. So it's laying in there the way it should be. Is that upside down? I can't tell. Glue that down. mess around. Okay, that's cute. Now for some, I don't have very much washi tape. This is the extent of my washi tape. But I'm thinking gold, because of the warm tones, would work. If not gold, maybe black. That's already got stripes in it. No, I think I'm just gonna go with plain gold. So now, take that down, and then I'm going to do the same on the back, just to close up that seam. There. Okay, now we're ready to stick the liner in, which is going to be this green color. So make sure that fits, and it does. Let's pull this piece of tape off. And then we're going to stick this down and get as close to the edge as you possibly can with your tape gun. And if you don't get a good edge on it, you should come in with your liquid glue, which I'm going to do. I'll show you that. And then I run one strip down the center. So I just come in with my Lawn Fawn glue, and I just put a little bead around the entire border of it. And this will ooze out and get to the edges and make sure it's nice and sealed. You don't want any paper lifting. So we've got our reinforced spine with the extra tape in there, and just gonna lay this down, flatten that out, and then we're gonna rework the spine again because we added more paper. Okay, now we have covered this up with some pretty paper that I had cut and now I'd lost. Where did you go, paper? Okay. We're just going to use this scrap. This isn't the one that I had cut, but I don't know where it just disappeared to. Flew away. So we're just going to stick this down like so. Just put some glue right on top of that guy. Put it on the spine. And then a little bit on the back. Get this up right against the edge, like that. Trim off the excess. Fold it over. Get it, oops, must have an exposed piece of tape. Yeah, I do, right there. Burnish that down. Just make sure you glue it to the right side. I did that the other day. I glued it to the back instead of the front, and it ruined it. And then I like to use this tape to stick it on because this is super strong. But you could use the 1/2 inch too if you don't have this wide stuff. Not a big deal. So then I just go stick that on there like that. Pull that off. Lay that down like so. And there's your book. Isn't it cute? Now you can put something here if you wanted. You could even, you know, add that, or you could put in flourish, or, you know, whatever. If you've got some stickers, if you wanted to cut this circle out, put that in there, which maybe I'll do. This right now, but so yeah, stick that on there. There you have it. Easy squeezy. You could customize these for holiday gifts, for little party favors at bridal showers, or just about anything. Sky's the limit. And most of you who are card makers have all the stuff you need to do these. You just need to buy the chipboard and the little notebooks. So I hope you got inspired today with this little tutorial, and please don't hesitate to comment below if you've got questions. I'd love to hear what you think about them. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.